I went through a lot before I got clean. You know, I was the oldest of 6 kids, stepchild, and when my stepfather married my mother, that's what I was treated like, a stepchild. I had to move out when I was 13 years old. I was not allowed to live with my family. I had to go live with other relatives. And that was painful, people. I missed my teenage years. I didn't have to do that. I had to grow up early. I had to take care of myself. My mother wasn't allowed to do anything for me. My first job was delivering Time Union newspapers. Then I started heading shrimp. You know, then I started hustling shrimp. And how I got started on this drug journey was one day we went to a game, and my cousin after the game, he'd always tell me, "Hey man, I'll catch you at the house, man. I'm gonna hang out with the boys, and I'll catch you at the house. I'll see you later on, I'll catch you when I get there." And I go and hang out by myself. So this particular night they had a goal. They was gonna get me trash. So when they told me they wanted me to hang out with them, I felt good about hanging out with them. You know what I mean? I just felt good doing that. You know, to hang out with the older guys, you know what I mean? My cousin was about a couple of years older than me and stuff like that. And they went and got some alcohol. They was going to get me trash. That was their goal, to get me trash. And it's funny about drinking and drugging and stuff like that. We lie about it. I think I drank 2 beers that night and got trashed. And I lied and said I drunk 12. At the end of my drinking and drugging, I drunk 12 and lied and told everybody I had but 2. Why we do that? And what it done for me what I could not do for myself. You know, I was one of them kids that was shy. I would go to the dance, and if a girl came up to me and said, "Henry, would you like to dance?" Not right now, but maybe later on. If you say something hurt my feelings, I wouldn't say nothing. I'd turn around and walk off and go and pout, man, and cry. You know what I mean? But this particular night when I got trashed, everything changed. Everything changed. I danced with everybody that asked me to dance. I danced with every girl. I danced with my buddies. I danced by myself. Hey. You know what I mean? And if you made me mad, I would tell you all. I would tell you, I've never done that before. Never done it before. But the feeling that I got from that, man, I went and tried to seek that every day. I can't remember 5 days I did not drink or drink and drug from the age of 13.
Oh, wow.
You know? And I graduated from school, and all my friends went to college. Some of them went in the military. One seemed like wasn't nothing going for me. Some of them got hired at the paper mill, stuff like that. So I said, well, I'll go in the Air Force. And take that back, people. Before I started drinking and drugging, I never made a C on my report card. Never made a C. Matter of fact, I couldn't bring anything less than that, because if I brought a C or anything less than that, that gave my stepfather an excuse to chastise me. So not allowed to bring that. You know what I mean? So all A's and B's. And then when I was living with my uncle and everything, you know what I mean, he didn't put that kind of pressure on me. So C's and D's was just fine. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't study anymore either, because I didn't have to study. I didn't have to make A's and B's and all that. So I didn't study. So what I do is I know y'all are familiar with this, I would make, when I had to do a test, a multiple choice test, I'd make scientific wild guesses. You know what I mean? We didn't talk about this one. Maybe that one. I remember them talking about this one and this one. We talked about this one a little bit more than we talked about that one, so I'll put that one on. And I made a C or D. And my buddies would be out there bragging about making an A and B. I said, I ain't had to study, man. I made a C or D. If I'd have studied, I'd have made an A too. But I didn't have to study. Made a C or D. I never done homework anymore. Went through school, man, just that way. Graduated, everybody went to college, some people went to the military. Wasn't nothing happening for me. So I decided to go in the military. And I took the test for the Air Force. And I made a high enough score on that test. I could have won in anything they offered to an enlisted person. And I chose missiles. And I didn't know anything about choosing curriculum, so I chose missiles. And I thought I could go overseas, because I heard about the good drugs over there in Vietnam and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, my.
So I wanted to go overseas, you know. And the time I got in there, they closed all the bases in Vietnam, so I couldn't go overseas. And all the missile bases was in the States. I didn't know that. So what I did, I changed career fields. So I got into POL, fuel, oil, and lubricants. Refueling the airplanes and working in the lab and running samples on the fuel tanks of the aircraft, servicing with SSI, liquid oxygen, nitrogen, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Became pretty good at it. And I started getting in trouble. Got in a lot of trouble, man, in the Air Force. So they gave me a choice. They said, either get out or we're going to put you out. So I called my mom. My mom was mighty neighbor. I said, Mom, they treat me all kind of ways, do me all kind of ways, you know. And she was kind of sad about me having to move out and stay with other people, you know. Couldn't stay with her. You know, she said, well, you ain't got to put up with that. Just come on home. So I knew it was okay to come home. So I came home, and I was going to get a good job, have my VA benefits, so I was going to get a good job, move my mother, sister, and brother out of that environment, my stepfather, because he was an active alcoholic too. And I didn't have to do anything when I was living at home. All somebody had to do was tell him that I did it. Didn't have to be true. That was an excuse to take a chastisement. You know what I mean? And that's how I grew up. And got out, and I was going to try to do that. And I got out in March that year. So in June, it was August, September, I was getting ready to go back to school. My mother was doing back to school shopping. I went with her and everything. Still hadn't got a job. I was still drawing unemployment and stuff like that. And my mother fell. And we had to take her to the hospital. And she didn't want to go in Jacksonville. She wanted to be brought back to Nassau General. And she told me she wasn't going to make it out of there. She was going to die. I said, no, you're not. I said, all you need to do is lose weight. My mama was a pretty woman. You know, she let herself go. I didn't know it. She let her go. Let herself go. Gained a lot of weight. Didn't take care of herself. Almost a year ago, I found out why. I'll tell you all about that. And she told me she wasn't going to make it out. I said, Mom, all you do is lose some weight. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a house. I'm going to be a benefits. I'm going to get a house. Move you out of that environment. We're going to be happy ever after. Things didn't work out that way, people. My mother died. She never made it out of the hospital. I was 21 years old and she was 39 when she died.
Oh, my God.
I turned my back on God because I feel like I had a rough life. How can you do that to me and that's all I got? You know, my mother never told me who my real father was. She said, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is that I'm going to take care of you. And she died, and I got a good job in the mill. And I started doing drugs, man. At that time, I was smoking pot, doing all that kind of stuff. My mother died. The pain was so great. I started doing drugs intravenously. I turned my back on God, and I became a needle freak. Anything that you could break down and put in your arm, I put in a syringe, I put in my arm. Anything. You know, and I got a job at the mill, and the mill was my enabler. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Because I was a good worker when I was there. I could do anything, move anything in that mill. I could work in the finishing room. You couldn't back me up. You could run that machine wide open. You couldn't back me up. You break the paper before you back me up. And we'll make production, stuff like that. And I got a lot of attention by that. So when payday come, if I was on 4 to 12 a graveyard, they'll place bets whether I come in or not. Most times I ain't coming in. And I got away with that for 12 years, people.
Oh, wow.
12 years. Whoever I'm relieving would get mad because if I was their relief on payday. Got mad about that. And as things progressed, I had a buddy at the mill, and he used to work, used to go to college, used to go to Florida State. That became my team. Florida State, that was my buddy team, so that became my team too. And he had a big college fund. So I made sure, I hadn't got married by that time, and I made sure that his girlfriend and my wife were good friends. And everywhere we go, we invite them. And everywhere they went, he invited me, my wife. So, you know, you got to have somebody close. And one day his girlfriend got a little bit smart than my wife. She said, I tell you what you need to do. I ain't marrying you. You need to marry Henry. So every time we go, you call Henry. Every time we get ready to do something, you call Henry. You need to marry Henry. You're in love with Henry. You ain't in love with me. he came to work crying. I didn't want to see my brother cry. But he cried. I said, I tell you what you do. Let it go. Maybe get you another one. Good as you've been to her. Then he told me he had about $5,000 in savings. Oh Lord. We got up at work it was on a long weekend, Friday evening, come back Wednesday night graveyard. We went through about $3,200 doing drugs. And we got ready to come home. So I didn't think about explaining anything to my wife. Anything to my wife till I started coming home. When I started coming home, we come up with these brilliant ideas. I said, I tell you what we do. You go home with me, and when things are all right, then you go home. Because my wife going to raise sand. I ain't been home a week, I ain't called nobody, nothing like that. He said, I tell you what, I got one better than that. I'm going to put you up in the corner, and if you need me, call. I got ready to turn the corner and go to the house. All my clothes piled up in the yard. She cut them all. You know, everything has been thrown out in the yard. But see, we think fast. So when I put up in the yard, all my neighbors had to turn the chairs in the yard, looking toward the house, and those are neighbors, you know, trying to see what's going on. You know what I mean? My wife come out the house with the gun. She was the police. I married the police. I thought they helped my drug problem. And she come out of the house with the gun, said, you want to pick them clothes up, walk down the road, you never set foot back in the yard again. I need some help. You're right, I need some help. Let me get some help. She said, you better get some help or I'll kill you. So I went to Charter by the Sea. And when I got there, I slept in detox for about 3 days. Because I've been gone for a week. I ain't getting no rest. And so there's an old lady, black lady by the name Caretha Miles. She told me, say, you got to get your butt up and go out there to group. I didn't come up here to go to no group. I come up here to rest and relax. You know what I mean? So she said, well, you got to get up out of here and go to group. Go to group. I went to group, man. Got a guy that told me, my name is Henry and I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. Got a guy who my name is Joe and I'm an addict. I ain't none of them. It's just something I like to do. I ain't none of them. You know what I mean? And the whole while, until they stop me, they come with the stuff about you got to change your playground, play mates, play things. You got to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. Prove it. Show me. Show me. And got to the point, then I had an in crowd follow me. Yeah. So they told me, say, hey, we want you to shut up, don't say nothing. If you do, we're going to kick you out. We're going to go back to the mill, they're going to fire you. So I said, I better start cooperating. So I started cooperating, and my wife was pregnant with our oldest child, and she was coming up there to see me, and she'd go home, and she didn't know. She said, oh, he looks so good. He talking so much different. You ain't gonna believe it, he's a different person. And in 2 weeks, I was drunk again. That hurt me. That hurt me. And I went back out, and Dr. Roy was a short, old gentleman, wore a bow tie every day to work, you know what I mean? Very unique guy. And he told me when he got ready to commence, he told me, said, Henry, you've been a very unique case. But if you live, you'll be back. I ain't coming back in. I'll show you that. I'll prove it to you. I ain't coming back in. He said, if you live, don't you worry about me. I ain't coming back in. And I went back out and I was high again in about 2 weeks. My wife said, you're killing me. How I'm killing you? What I'm doing killing you. She said, you're killing me. And I wouldn't go back to Charter. My pattern was staying out a year. I stayed out a year and I went to another treatment center. I wasn't going back to Charter to give them satisfaction. So I went to another treatment center and my pattern was another year. I messed up again. They changed management at the mill that ran during that time. They fired me. And I was all arrogant and all that. I don't care. I was looking for a job when I got this one. You know how we get. And they let me go. And that same day, I got served divorce papers. The same day, I got a restraining order served. The same day, they repossessed my car and said that she needed a different transportation, different car. And I was broke because when I got paid, if I woke up in the morning with money in my pocket, I'm slipping. I'm supposed to be broke. You know what I mean? And all week, I got to borrow money from somebody to make it to the next payday. And our payday was every 2 weeks. And Pastor Sheik came to my rescue. That house they got on the property now by the church. Didn't have no lights, wasn't hooked up or nothing. He said, you can stay here as long as you need to. Because I know you're a good guy. You just got caught up in this disease you got. Just stay here. And I stayed there. And when my wife come to me and she get mad and she want to argue about my behavior when I was drinking and drugging, and they taught me when I was going to meetings, don't argue. Understand instead of disagree. So whatever she said, I understand. You got a right to feel that way. But if God willing, you'll be a different man. If God willing. Or she started getting too outrageous or whatever. I said, right now ain't the time to talk about it. We'll talk about it later on. But always give it. It's better to understand rather than to be understood. You know. And so about 6 months, she saw something different in me. She let me come back home. Dropped the divorce and all that. And I got me a sponsor, Johnny Spence. He's dead now. But that man saved my life. He took me with him wherever we went. And one day they had alumni day at Charter, and they wanted me to go with him to set up. So I said, okay, I'll go, because you never tell your sponsor no. So I went with him and got up there, man. He said, when we got up there, he was always one trying to trick me. You know, he said, I want you to speak. I said, man, don't do that, man. I'll do it next month when you come up. He said, no, I want you to speak. Come on, man, don't do that. Man, I ain't wrote nothing down. I ain't prepared. He said, you don't need to prepare. It's your story. I want you to speak. So I spoke. And after I spoke, that same staff that I was up there with was still there. And it was so good. They said it was so good because I told the truth. I was honest about myself. They said, we want you to come back next month and speak again. And we want all the staff to be here when you come. So they came back up next month, I spoke. And so after I got through speaking, they said, would you like to come and work for us? I don't know anything about counseling. They said, good. We're going to train you. We're going to train you. You're teachable now. Because you got honest and said you don't know nothing about it. Anybody else say, oh yeah, I do that. No, I said, I don't know nothing about that. They said, we're going to train you. My first workshop that I ever went to in my life, I went to 2 weeks at Hazleton. That's where all your printing material came from. Everything came from Hazleton for recovery. All your self-help books came from Hazleton. They had their own printing press. I had an opportunity to meet a lot of people there. Met Melanie Beattie, several other people. C.C. Knuckles. Y'all probably know who that is, but he was one of the top people in addiction. And after that, I was able to go to Morehouse School of Medicine twice to the drug abuse challenge to the black community's health. I went there. Then after I went there, I attended the Southeastern Conference of Alcohol and Drug Council 8 years in a row in Atlanta. When I left there and stopped doing all that, I had an opportunity to go to Georgia Southern, the Sober Fest. I went there. When I left there after 11 years, I had over 300 credit hours of addiction. And I left there and I learned the movement business from a guy that was in the program. He taught me the movement business. And I went to North American Van Lines looking for a job. And I got in some trouble in between that. A friend of mine, I started hanging out with the wrong people. They said you got to change people, places, and things. Thank God I didn't use. But I was hanging out with the wrong people. And I had a bunch of money in my 401k, had about $15,000. And he talked me into fronting some money so he could sell dope and told me about the big return he'd give me back on it. And I fell for it. So when he got busted, he told on me. So I went to jail. I'm glad I went to jail. Things happen for a reason. God had another plan for me. Yes. Going to jail saved my life. Yes. Saved my recovery. You know what I mean? And I went to jail and I done 6 months on a year, probably. And they let me out. That was the most embarrassing situation. I'm sitting in the cell with my wife up there in the control tower watching me in jail. That was embarrassing, people. And I got out and I went to work for North American Van Line. They told me, saying, I'm sure how God works. Their criteria is that They asked me, say, Henry, since you got experience, what are you willing to work for? And God, thank God I said this, what I said. I told them, I tell you what I do. I prove myself to y'all through my work. And make me an offer, and I tell you whether I work for it or not. So what they told us about, what I did, I learned to sell quality. You know, I didn't do like I did at the mill. Show up at 8 o'clock, I'd be working at 8 o'clock. When I was working at the paper, at the moving company, I showed up at 7. But my supervisor walking there, what do you need me to do to help you set up? What do you need me to pull in the orders? You need me to clean off one of your trucks that's going out? So somebody can fill it up and put it. You need me to load the truck for them? He look at me like, this got something wrong with you. People don't do that. They wait till 8 o'clock to come in and want to do work. This guy volunteered to do work. And then when I got off, because I work fast, I don't play around, I go and work fast and do what I was doing and stuff like that. And I sold quality. I would never take nothing out of your house and pad it outside. I'll pad it in the house after I inventory it and right there in the place where it's at. And if I'm bringing something into your house off that truck, I'm not going to unpad it until I put it in place where you wanted it. And I unpad it.
Wow.
So by doing that, that's quality. And I carried myself in a respectable manner, and I introduced myself, made the person, because when you go on a person out moving them, they're uncomfortable with you until they get to know you. So what I do, I introduce myself to them. Make them feel comfortable. When you make them feel comfortable, something happens, they say, oh, don't worry about that, it wasn't nothing big. Everything okay. You know what I mean? So that's where I was. And they always wrote a letter to North America. If we ever move again, send Henry. Send Henry. So they wanted to make me a contract, and they told me, say, and I had 3 years on paper. Being a contract, you got to go out of town and do stuff and all that kind of stuff like that. So their policy was, you couldn't have a felony for 7 years. Sure, God word. And if you're on probation, you got to get permission to go out of town. All right. So what I did, they told me, say, you go and talk to your probation officer and go back for the judge, see, you get permission to go out of town and stuff like that. We're going to call corporate and ask them to waive their criteria for us so they can hire you. We can hire you. So I waited around. I went to court, went before the judge. The judge says, this is unbelievable. They want to hire you? You know what I mean? So I tell you what I'm going to do. There's something special about this. I'm going to take them 3 years back. I cried. If they want you that bad, I'm going to let them hire you. I'm going to take them 3 years back. Huh? That's right. Look at God. Look at God. Then when I got the letter back from corporate, the letter stated, we don't know what's going on in Jacksonville, but they want you mighty bad. So we're going to take and waive that criteria and let them hire you. Huh? I prayed about it before I did all this stuff. That's the key. I prayed about it. You know what I mean? And I cried, man, profusely. And from that point on, I had my first contract was Potter Bond, Williamson, Noma, Crate, and Barrel. I delivered home furniture for the whole state of Florida. Monday through Wednesday, I would go on the East Coast. Thursday through Saturday, I would go on the West Coast by myself for 2 years. And I'd done that so good, they would ask me to call in periodically so they could know where I'm at. What y'all tell you that? Huh? And I'll be back home every Saturday before 12. And I'm supposed to take a helper with me. But it was threshold delivery. I don't need nobody to help me. But nobody with me. You know what I mean? So I did that by myself. And they gave me a contract guaranteeing me, I don't know what it was, a little over, I think about 80,000 or whatever like that. Running by myself, I brought home 225,000. By myself. 2 years later, they made me the head contractor for North American Band. And I talked to I always learning talking to people, man, before you go and make decisions. And they told me, said, what we're going to do, we're going to give you a loan so you can go and buy your trucks and the equipment that you need for this job. So this old man, I went and talked to him about it, just be a contractor. He said, let me tell you something, son. You don't have to look good to make money. You don't need a brand new truck. Get you a roadworthy used truck and buy them one at a time as you need them and rent them in between that. I said, okay, it makes sense. So 8 years later, being the head contractor, their claim ratio was about $250,000 a year. I cut it back and never got over 50,000 because I sold quality. I didn't sell a job, I sold quality. When I left there, I had 9 trucks, 5 tractors, 4 box trucks, mine are owners. I had 40 guys working for me. And the reason why I had to leave there, having a good wife, I knew I had hep C from doing drugs intravenously. And they told me that if I didn't use drugs anymore, that it wouldn't be progressive. And I could probably live with it the rest of my life. That's not true, people. It's progressive whether you use it or not. But they didn't know anything about it back then. And she told me, so I need you to go and get a physical before I retire, take care of my insurance at the jail, at the police department. I said, well, I don't need to do all that. I said, I got too much to do. I got to run this business and all that. I'll do it when I get a chance. She said, no, I need you to go. So what a good woman do? She go down and make the appointment to come on my job and get me. I got mad. I told you I'm going to do it. Let me do it. You don't have to come out here and embarrass me in front of my guys. Come and grab me off my job like that. I said, well, what I do this time, don't do that no more. You know, and I went down there, man, and took that test, man, and my whole world changed. They told me, say, anybody ever told you you had stage 4 cirrhosis? You dying. You are dying. My whole world changed. I gave myself a death sentence. Every night I walked the hallway. I didn't come this far in my life, in my recovery, now I'm finna die. Why? And then that little light clicked on me. What are you doing? Why don't you go to a meeting and share that? Why don't you go and talk to somebody that, you know, that knows somebody that got cirrhosis, has cirrhosis. Talk to somebody that knows somebody that going through what you going through and all that. See, we want to keep a closed mouth. A closed mouth don't get fed. Some people are sick, and before they talk to somebody about it, they keep it a secret and die. You open your mouth, somebody done went through what you're going through. They can tell you what they did to get through it. They can tell you what they did that caused them problems by opening your mouth. So I did that. So I went to go get my help and all that, and I was going to the University of Florida. I ain't putting them down. But every time I went down there, I never saw a doctor. I saw an intern. He said, well, we got some good news, we got some bad news, Henry. Which one do you want to hear? I need to hear it all. You know? You say, the bad news is all your blood work pointing toward cancer. The good news is we can't find none. So in my mind, you're telling me that I got cancer and you can't find it. Huh? That's what I perceive. And then they tell me, say, we don't have any proof. Well, you got insurance. I said, well, I'm on my wife's insurance. They said, well, you need to call us and tell us what our policy number is so we can look it up to see if you're on our policy. And I did that every time I went there. And I got mad about it. I said, well, I ain't doing nothing. Y'all want to do it, y'all call. And I demand to see somebody else. I'm getting tired of coming here, building my hope up. Y'all hurt me the way y'all hurt me by telling me y'all don't know what's wrong with me. You know what I mean? So they sent me to Mayo Clinic. And when they got ready to take and run tests on me, they stopped from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. Everything that was wrong, they corrected it. And they told me that I had stage 4. And they told me that we can't guarantee that you're going to live. You know what I mean? But we're going to do the best we can. I went through 5 stomach infections. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I'm walling on the floor, man, crying to God that this is what it's going to be like. Go ahead and take me now. Go ahead and take me. You know, the first time they pumped my stomach, they pumped 4.5 liters of fluid off my stomach. You know what I mean? And I had to get my stomach pumped every other week because I was attaining fluid just that bad. Just that bad. I had to leave work. I couldn't work anymore because I had so many doctor's appointments. And that last year that I worked, like I told y'all, I made $1.5 million. They told me, say, if you get yourself together, we'll take you back. If you live, we'll take you back. We'd love to have you back. I got my transplant in 2014. I had to sign papers. I'll show you how God works. I had to sign papers stating that they can't guarantee me that I'll live through the transplant. They can't guarantee me that I'll live after the transplant to protect themselves in case I die. I can't come back and blame them and say it's their fault. I said, well, I got to think about that. I said, don't think about it too long, because if you don't sign the paper, we ain't doing the transplant. So I'm going to die anyway. So I signed the papers. And I prayed about it. And they had me on this drug called Harvoni. I was staying on it about 30 days. And they called me one day. I was walking my Zion, she ain't here. That's my daughter's daughter, my granddaughter. I was walking her to school. You know what I mean? And they called me up and they said, we got your liver. So we need you to come right away. I said, okay, I'm going to walk my granddaughter to school, then I'll be right on. They said, you don't understand what we're saying. You need to come now. Find somebody else to walk up. You can't hold an organ for 2 hours. And they got to give it to somebody else. I said, okay. I got somebody walking. I'm going to go and get my wife to go with me. You still don't understand what we say. You need to come now. Stop doing whatever you're doing. Come now. My wife was crying. I said, well, you can't go with me. I don't want to be stressed out. Called my son. He was the police at the time. He was crying. You can't go with me. You know what I mean? So when I was going down Extra Drive, every 5 miles, where you at? Where you at? When I got to the ferry, I had to get out of the car, get on my knees, and pray again. When I got my prayer was, if I die today, would I have any regrets? No, because I had a good life. If I die today, would I be leaving anything undone? No, because I made my amends. I'm a changed person. Is the day a good day to die? Yes. I don't want to die, but it's a good day to die because I'm at peace with that. You know what I mean? And I went on and had that transplant. And to this day, I haven't had any infection, no rejection, no complication, no nothing. And I don't have to live in fear. I never had to wear a mask because somebody else is sick. The guys in the house, I don't care if I got 50, 60 people in the house or whatever it is, they know I'm right there with them. Anything I tell them to do, I'm right there with them. Any meeting I tell them to go, I'm right there with them. Any group I got, I'm right there with them. They need one-on-one counseling, I'm right there with them. God told me to say, when I give you something, it's yours. You put your name on it, you claim it, you own it.
That's it. Thank you, Jesus.
You can give it away. You can give it away, but nobody can take it. Nobody can take it. And I went and had that transplant, and it was so miraculous, Mayo Clinic couldn't even explain it. So under the last Trump administration, the medical department for the liver department unanimously chose me to go to Capitol Hill and lobby for research money for liver disease, and we got more than what we asked for.
Thank you, God.
You go to the Mayo Clinic right now and go on the transplant floor and go to the staff lounge, you'll see my picture on there. In Capitol Hill. You go to Charter by the Sea, going towards the adult unit, you'll see my picture there. You go to First Baptist Church and go in the, what you call them, you see my picture up there. Yeah. And I left there, and I could have went back because they wanted me to come back, and they was going to take and give me that same job with North American Van Line that I told you about. They said, when you get well, you can come back. We'd love to have you back. Yeah. But God laid it on my heart and said, what I'm doing is, this is your calling. I want you to help others. Yeah. So I opened up my first house. And when I opened up my first house, we had about 15 beds or something like that. You could have more than what you had back then. And today, got 10 houses, 80 beds.
Thank you, Jesus.
When I opened up my first house, that big picture you see right there, the biggest one on that wall, that's a resolution that the county commissioners gave me for my service in the community. That goes down in the history and archives of Nassau County.
Amen.
There's a newspaper article up there, the one on the far left. You got me in the shirt on there, right behind the lady's head there. That's the one where Mayo Clinic sent me to Capitol Hill to lobby for research money for liver disease. And they told me, said they'll give me probably about 5 minutes apiece. They gave me 30 minutes, so that means they listen. They wanted my autograph. They wanted my phone number. Because they had friends that had problems. They wanted me to talk with them and stuff like that. 2 years ago, Channel 4 nominated me for the Image Awards.
Thank you, Jesus.
I didn't win it. Everybody thought I should have won it. But everybody got the Image Award. One Image Award was in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? But good thing I didn't go there looking to win, because I'd have missed what I saw. What I saw that day, my wife and my kids went, and that day they were proud I was their daddy, and she was proud I was her husband.
That's right.
I would have missed that if I'd have went there looking to win, because I'd have got angry because I didn't win, and I'd have missed that. See, so sometimes you can't see for looking. You can't see God's blessing for looking. You know what I mean? And just recently, Pastor talked about he got an honorary doctorate degree. I got one too.
That's right.
Because counseling is ministry.
That's right. Yes,
Counseling is
it is.
ministry.
Yes, it is.
And in my program, the person comes to my program, they don't need any money up front. Everyone that you go to, you need money up front. And I've done that because my calling is I want to help the ones that are down here. They ain't got no money. Then the ones I want to help. Then the ones God called on me to help.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I got the quality. I got 38 years of experience. Most of it, I don't know. Charter was one of the biggest hospitals in the country. We had 110 beds. And 12 years working there, I don't know how many lives I touched. How many people have touched my life. Right now, Grace and Gratitude have over 400 people come through it a year.
Amen.
And I know where I stand. My job is not to get them sober. My job is to keep the doors open and carry the message. God's the one gonna keep you sober. Get you sober. You got to find a power greater than you in order for this thing to work.
Yes.
You got to give up on your own understanding. This is defective equipment.
Yeah.
You got to give up on this. You got to practice 3 spiritual principles. Those spiritual principles is honesty, open-mindedness, and the willing to change. It covers the inside job. Your best thinking got yourself in the situation you're in. You didn't get there. You didn't want none of them side effects and after effects. You know. And my thing is, this is my calling, people. I'm gonna do this until my God call me home. When my God said, Henry, job well done. Come on home. That's when I'll be finished with this. You know. And my prayer, my favorite prayer is, I thank God every day for allowing me to laugh and smile. But don't ever let me forget that I cried. Don't ever let me forget that I cried. I didn't get through it. You know, the thing about it, I learned from that too. Because anytime you go through something, good, bad, or indifference, you receive a gift when you work through it, without when you don't use. That gift is a learning experience and a growing experience, because one day somebody's going to come along going through the same thing that you just went through, and you can tell them how you got through it, and you didn't have to use it. That's a blessing. This is one promise, many gifts, many blessings. You know. And I was telling my wife, and I told the pastor the other day, I went around to the house and we talked to him and stuff like that. You know, this year here, I'll be 71. Time for me to take and work on me. You know what I mean? Because I want to get baptized and I want to get saved. You know what I mean? It's time for me to plan my life when I leave here. Where am I going to go when I leave here? It's time for me to do that. God's been good to me.
Yes.
God's been good to me. God has blessed me in so many ways. You know what I mean? And like I say, when that day comes, I want my God to say, Henry, job well done. Come on home. Come on But right now, I'm on that road.
Yes.
I'm on that road. And before I close, back down the thing I got, Grace and Gratitude shirts. They for sale with the donation. We use that now. But I don't get grants. I don't have enough staff to keep up with all that, and I don't want to get into me for misappropriation of funds and all that crazy stuff. So God take care of us. You don't need any money up front to come to Grace and Gratitude. We get your jobs.
Amen.
We have people to come and do medical work on you, do blood work on you, anything wrong with you, pre-medical help. We partner with Michelle Holbrook, she can get your clothes. We have a step study group. You can't have a 12-step program where people don't understand what it means or how to apply it to your life. We got that. Church is mandatory, because without God, you're nothing.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And the other thing is we got the bank to come in and to do a financial group, help you open up a bank account.
Thank you, Jesus.
That part of my program, I call that One Day You Gotta Leave Me. And I don't want you to be in the same situation financially as it was when you came to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I got a lot of preps. I partner with some people out of Jacksonville with the community action and stuff like that. The maritime group. If guys finish my program, they can go work on the ship. Long show. They've done a study. They have learned that felons, if they can get a career job, they're less likely to reoffend. That's a fact. If you give a felon an opportunity to get a career job, they're less likely to reoffend. They can go to school. If they can go to school and learn a career, they're less likely to reoffend. You know, they got fair housing. They got housing now. They got these pedestal houses they can get for the homeless. I done that one year. I had a cold weather shelter 3 years in a row, helping the homeless. It was frustrating. I had to stop it because you can't mix homeless people with recovering people. You got half over here don't want it. You got half over here trying to get it. You know what I mean? It don't mix. It don't mix. So I had to make a choice. I can't help those that don't want to be helped. I'm enabling them. Pain is the foundation for change. If you don't hurt, you ain't gonna change. You know? You gotta hurt. You know? Like I say, you know, I've lived 38 wonderful years. I haven't want for anything. God has blessed me tremendously. He gave me everything I need, anything I want. I got people in the community. I went the other day to a guy, y'all might have seen if you went to Jacksonville 17, the guy that got the barbecue truck. That guy, that big old truck there. And I stopped by there sometime I go to Jacksonville. And I got there early in the morning. I went to go pick up my grandson, little Bishop, that's what we call him. And he told me, he said, you know, I've been wanting to talk to you. There's something special about you. I don't know what it is. But every time you come around, I don't care what I'm doing, but it startles me. It startles me. I said, nothing special about you. He said, yeah, it is. Something special about you. I said, well, I got a drug program where I help recovering drug addicts and stuff like that. He said, I knew it. And one other thing I didn't tell you all about either is that one day I was in a meeting sharing, and this guy that's a writer came along, you know what I mean? Every time I would share, he would smile. Look at me and smile. He shook his head, you know what I mean? And so one day he came to me and said, you know what? He said, have anybody ever come up to you and asked you about writing a book about your life? I said, no. He said, how would you feel about that? I feel like my life is whole and complete. I said, because when you die, people quit talking about you. With a book, I might live a little longer. We rode around for about 3 months talking about my life. 3 months later, got a book came out about my life in 2019.
Thank you, Jesus.
To this day, it's a bestseller.
Yes.
To this day, I sold over 2,000 copies. I don't know what Amazon sold. And if you pull it up, all the reviews are 5-star reviews. And the title is Saved by Grace, The Recovery of Henry Green. Saved by Grace, Full of Gratitude, The Recovery of Henry Green. And that's what it was. That's what my life was when I had that transplant. I was saved by grace and I'm full of gratitude. That's the recovery of Henry Green. So I got another lady, she wasn't here today. She's a member of Pride. She's a writer. And she wants to write my next book. My next book is going to be entitled The Recovery Book Manual by Henry Green.
Amen.
Because they think that I got the best program. I don't have a warehouse where people come in here and just occupy space. I got a program of action. You know what I mean? I get in there and get with you. You know what I mean? And I ain't in the like me business. I don't get too close to somebody with, you know what I mean? I ain't in the like me business. I ain't getting too close to anybody that can't tell you the truth. You know what I mean? And that's what I do. And you ain't gotta like me either. But you're gonna respect me. That's what you're gonna do. And people, I'm so grateful for my life. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing. But this last quarter of my life, I wanna work on me so I know where I'm going at when I leave here. And for that, I wanna thank you.
All right, all right.